Welcome back, Starlight. You are listening to the Your Celestial Podcast, a space for women who are restoring their light after heartbreak, loss, and life-altering transitions, and who are learning how to trust themselves again through the lens of astrology, healing, and soul-centered reflection. If you are new here, I welcome you to the space. And if you are a returning listener, I thank you so much for continuing to evolve with me on this journey. And before we begin, I invite you to subscribe to this podcast. And if this episode resonated with you, leave a comment or review. It will truly help this work reach women who need it right now. So let's take a deep dive and observe the week of February 16th and what it brings us astrologically. What I see in terms of what's happening this week, we have an auspicious moment, the solar eclipse, the first solar eclipse of 2026. It brings themes of awakening, course correction, and soul level truth. And as we're moving through a solar eclipse week, which often marks periods of inner course correction, especially for women who are no longer willing to settle, shrink, or abandon themselves. In today's episode, I will walk you through the energetic themes of the week and how to move with them gently. And I also want to share that I have released a special extension episode today that is focused entirely on the solar eclipse, where I explore what this eclipse means for each zodiac sign and rising sign. And I even pulled an oracle card for each sign. So if you want a deeper, a more personalized message, that episode is available now. So enjoy it. So we now begin the week of February 16th with two major transits happening. The Sun in Aquarius in square with Uranus and Taurus, and Mercury and Pisces in trine with Jupiter in Cancer. This day will feel mentally stimulating and yet emotionally revealing at the same time. When you're working with Aquarius energy, first off, it's all about like the higher mind, learning how to engage with our higher systems of thought and learning how to bridge it down. And through the lens of the Sun being in Aquarius, everybody's collective mind is basically centered on humanity and collective themes, how we will be contributing to the greater whole, and as well as bringing messages involving with what needs to be done to evolve this planet. Now, when the Sun is in intense square with Uranus in Taurus, Taurus has to do with the earth energy, stability, learning how to ground our systems and make things happen here. Now, whenever you see the Sun in square to Uranus, this brings a lot of tension involving our beliefs involving structure, our beliefs involving what needs to be changed. So it could be a little intensified when you're feeling not so stabilized within self. And I would like to remind you that even though it feels very disruptive, it's often very liberating once you lean into these themes. What is it about within yourself that needs to evolve here? If you're feeling like you are working through similar energies or same habits and such, this is going to be a kind of an earthquakey kind of energy for you. And the good news is it's not permanent, but it is a wave of realization in terms of what needs to change within yourself. So look into what is stabilizing yet needs to be destabilized in order to bring the changes you need in your course. It might feel a little uncertain or a little like untethered at the moment, but the good news is eventually you're going to be realizing the higher meaning behind what it is that you need to rewire within your body, rewire within your conscious thought. While on the same day with Mercury and trine to Jupiter, it softens this intensity. Luckily, it offers emotional intelligence, intuition, and compassion. So our conversations will feel a lot more open, heartfelt, and a lot more honest. So hold space. If you're feeling like intensified at the moment because of the Sun square Uranus, just know that it will be buffered out by the Mercury and trine to Jupiter. So the good news is Jupiter, for wherever it touches in the chart, wherever it touches in the collective, it just shows that the silver lining is coming through on the horizon for you. And even with the collective, even though you are feeling a little like uncertain in regards to where you stand or whatever it is that you can't control in this moment, you will have much more breathing room and a lot more steadiness because you will understand what you need to do in order to feel the sense of calm within self. And Mercury brings this common language. So if you feel like your communications or your way of getting your message across has been blocked, the good news is you'll have this ability to articulate your message soundly and also understand whatever it is that you need to do to build bridges or find more common ground. So if something is unexpectedly changing in your life, just know that this will all make sense in the end. And it may take time for you to understand how it's going to land, but just lean into it and trust it, because for whatever it is that you're picking up intuitively around this time, this is an indicator for you to start listening to your cues. So Uranus is what brings our higher levels of thought and understanding of our intuitive knowledge, our understanding of what needs to change, because usually the soul speaks through much more soundly around this time. So trust it and lean into it, and know that even though your body's feeling unstable or the day's feeling unstable, is just a way for you to understand your inner cues. So start listening, leaning into it, and just know that you'll get the answer in time. Okay. And that is your message for February 16th. Now, speaking of liberation, on February 17th, the solar eclipse in Aquarius officially begins, marking eclipse season. It's game-changing energy, I have to say, because solar eclipses mark major endings and also beginnings that unfold over time. So if you have been in this feeling, in this space of stagnation, or if you've been feeling like that there needs to be change in your life, this is an indicator that it's just only the beginning here. And it's not something to be afraid of, because change is so essential whenever you want to move along with your story. Because the delays that you've been living over time, yes, delays are blessings in a way, but that has to do with your goals and ambitions. Absolutely. But the solar eclipse energy is an indicator that you need to start listening to your inner self. And it will also pivot you onto this path that is meant for you, that will also serve your highest and greatest good here. Now, this eclipse in Aquarius energy marks the beginning of our views towards freedom, liberation, changing things around. And there's something within you that needs to change in order for the greater macrocosm to change. So this goes in lines with community, our relationships with friends, and the roles you play in this world. So you have to remind yourself how you're going to be living more authentically in this path, because the way it's happening for the mass collective, it's activating the 11th house of the world. The 11th house has to do with community, our connections with people, the greater purpose behind how we move this planet to a better place. Aquarius is very revolutionary. It's very much involved with the need for us to change, also to become a better version of ourselves. So it's about us becoming much more invested with our inner growth, our soul's growth, and also learning how to become much more invested with community and learning how to evolve it. So now you remember on February 16th, the day before the solar eclipse, where the sun is in square to Uranus, this is also going to be impacted, because the way solar eclipse is beginning means that the sun and the moon are in exact alignment, but it's also forming a square to Uranus. Uranus is ruled by the sign of Aquarius. So there is a mutual exchange of understanding here. But Uranus likes to challenge the norm, you know? So from whatever it is that we've been so stabilized and settled in within our lives, within our systems of belief, within our systems of what brings us safety, it's going to be shifting here. So the good news is that solar eclipse in Aquarius energy will wake us out of the slumber and start to realize whatever it is that we need to do in order to move along in our stories and become much more intentional, become much more invested in our higher growth, and also to help people to become more community driven and to also look deeper in terms of our higher calling. So you'll feel like a shift, like a big awakening happening here. And it's not to say jump headfirst into anything yet. It's about you becoming much more more observant, listening more intently, also noticing the cues that your soul self keeps trying to ask you to do. So again, it's not to jump headfirst to anything. It's time for you to start noticing noticing whatever it is that you've been overlooking. This is the next chapter for us all, like as a collective, and even for you. So if you have your birth chart in front of you, look at where Aquarius is. Which house is ruled by Aquarius? This is where the solar eclipse will be inhabited. So this is the next chapter involving your story and through its Aquarius themes. So this is the solar eclipse message. And just to remind you that I released a solar eclipse extension episode today. So I go sign by sign and I pull an oracle card for each sign. So be sure to listen to it. Be sure to listen to it if you want a deeper look at what is unfolding for your sign, and let me know how it goes for you. And now on February 18th, the sun enters Pisces. The energy begins to diffuse a bit. Blurred lines, very watery, very reflective, very spiritual. It's very compassionate. It's also time for you to slow down. I know on the 17th, the solar eclipse just happened. I feel like with the sun in Pisces, it gives us a little breather in terms of us becoming more self-reflective, self-aware, and also to listen to what your inner life is asking for here. Sensitivity becomes such a strength here this season. So for these next 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks, just know that you don't need all the answers right now. This is a reflection stage of your path. You only need to stay present and observe what you feel. So I would suggest if ever you're feeling a little untethered and a little out of control and spiraling, I want you to slow down and become much more reflective in terms of what brings you peace. The great things to try during this season of the zodiacal wheel, Pisces season, it marks the last sign of the zodiac. So it's about you becoming more reflective of what have you been building for this last year. It's like pretty much the astrological new year whenever Aries season begins, but Pisces season is the sign before. So this has to do with what have you been collecting over time? What have you been building? Has it been aligning with your soul? Has it been therapeutic for you? It's not a season of suffering, as people say about Pisces, because Pisces energy is about our karma. It's also about what our soul's been living through and what debris, like energetic debris, have been accumulating over time. I would recommend you to start doing much more meditation work, drawing, painting, music, art. Do things that basically isn't so linear. It's helping you tap into your creativity. You can even write something. You can write a letter to your higher self. You could try activities like this. Start doing dream work. I love like working with blue lotus. Blue lotus is a really good herb to try if you want to start becoming more intuitively based, if you want to start becoming more lucid with your dreams. I wouldn't say drink a lot of it, but it's a little sprinkle. And I have a fragrance oil therapy and a essential oil therapy certification. So, I've dabbled with herbal concoctions before. Now, in this case, this is the loose leaf, like blue lotus. Blue lotus is fantastic when it comes to you becoming slower and more intentional. If you're really sensitive to dreams, I wouldn't recommend you using blue lotus. I would recommend you using more like softer herbs like chamomile. You could do maybe you can even try lemon balm, things like that. It's more of like a softer, lighter energy, whereas blue lotus is like deep inner work. But if you want to try something where it could infuse you to do more meditation work, blue lotus is a great place to start. And you can even try a fragrance oil instead of drinking it. So fragrance oils are much more aromatic, and it helps lighten up the systems in your body. That has to do with intuition. It also has to do with you becoming more reflective in your journey too. If you want to start engaging much more with like practical modalities in connection with astrology, blue lotus is very good for Pisces season. So look into it, okay? And I also have a blue lotus aromatherapy on my website if you would like to try it. I even have like full size perfume bottles with that too. I've had the shop open briefly. It's in collaboration with Ascent Alchemy. So I'm the sister company with them. You could see in the show notes below if you would like a direct link to check out what Blue Lotus is about and how it would benefit you. And let me know how it goes. So now on February 20th, Saturn is in conjunct to Neptune in Aries. A lot has been circulating around regarding this rare and significant event. Saturn loves to bring structure, discipline, and responsibility, where Neptune brings vision, spirituality, and imagination. Together, they invite you to ground your dreams into something real, especially around the views towards leadership, purpose, and identity. And with these two planets in the sign of Aries at 0 degrees, there is something very pure, full of possibility. Look at this as a energetic reset for yourself and your involvement with collective themes. And because Aries is the cardinal point of the zodiac, cardinal is about initiation, power, pioneering, pushing through, trusting in the course of life through the fire that you find within yourself. It is a little spark of light, possibility. It doesn't mean that we are confined to a fate of what has been done before. I'm talking about from major historical times, historical seasons where something massive happened. Okay, I'm not goddess. I'm not going to predict what happens. I'm more of the reader in terms of what you initiate within yourself. With this Aries energy, we all have Aries within us. No matter what birth chart we have, we all have Aries. That is where we find light after the dark. It's where we find hope beyond despair. It's where we find faith when we don't have any. If you've been feeling like very dragged down, or you haven't had any breakthroughs, or you're just feeling like you had no spark for some time, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction will mark a genesis of your life. You're going to have a lot of power and momentum. And it's not to say rush headfirst into it. It's more along the lines of you recovering what has been lost. Because Neptune, it brings information regarding like what your soul's been collecting. Because when it was in the sign of Pisces for like a long time, since 2011, it was a little blurred moment for us. Like we haven't been feeling very tethered. We've been feeling a little uncertain, very spacey, very spiritually bound, which is amazing, but we weren't really clear in terms of where we stand within our purpose, within our role, within the life. Whereas Neptune, taken on the lens of Aries, it's about taking this information into the next sign, which means we initiate something. We initiate the unspoken. We initiate the unheard. We initiate whatever it is that has been left to chance. This is about you taking charge and making things happen for you. And that is the way the Saturn-Neptune conjunction will bring information within our psyches. It's not about fantasy. It's about complete devotedness to your cause. So you have to ask yourself, what are you committed to building? Even if the path requires complete faith and patience, because Saturn's all about diligently building every brick and mortar with intention, whereas Neptune brings in the faith and the belief. And this is how Saturn and Neptune can manifest our next chapter here. So wherever Aries is located in your chart, this is where Saturn meets Neptune. So for wherever it is that you need to find the faith, this is where you can seek it. So now on February 22nd, we have Mars in sextile with Chiron and Aries, and also Venus in Pisces and trine to Jupiter in Cancer. This is a very beautiful day after an intensified week and lots of changes in the collective. I would have to say that this week it will be closing with supportive and healing energy. Mars and Chiron offer this courage to face the old wounds with greater self-trust, whereas Venus and Jupiter will bring compassion, willingness to extend help or receive. And also there will be lots of emotional warmth and reassurance in oneself. So it's a beautiful time for hosting healing conversations, emotional reconnection, and just allowing yourself to receive support, even in the most quiet ways. So start listening to whoever it is that you're talking to in this moment. Because wherever Jupiter is in the charts or transits, that's where seek out spirit. We seek out spirit's messengers. So if you have been very closed off lately to the universe's ideas, the universe's messages, this is the time for you to start opening up and start really paying attention to whatever it is that you've been letting go of, or whatever it is that you feel like you haven't been listening intently because you're so distracted. It's understandable. We're very human, Start listening intently. It could even be your inner voice that's speaking more clearly on this day. It can also be through people you are talking to. There's subtle messages coming through. You can even listen to music on the radio, whatever song comes up, listen to the lyrics, whatever you cross paths with. Like you may find yourself guided to go to a place that you've never gone to before. You may find yourself guided to book a ticket for traveling. You may even feel yourself guided to having that unhealed conversation just to rebuild bridges or find the closure that you need. So it's a beautiful time for hosting the space for you to clear the air and also find the healing that you need in order for you to move on your journey. And that is your message for February 22nd. Before we move to our closing message, I want to share something really special. My Celestial Awakenings Oracle deck is now available for pre-orders, and I'm offering a free gift to the first 100 pre-orders as a thank you for your early support. And this deck, I just want to remind you, or in case it's your first time listening, this deck blends astrology, intuitive wisdom, color therapy, and crystal guidance to support women through awakening, healing, and self-trust. The decks are set to arrive by spring 2026, and the pre-order window will close by April. So if you feel called to work with this deck, you can find the pre-order link in the show notes below. As we close this episode, I want to offer you one final message to carry with you through the week ahead. And I'm drawing one oracle card, a message for integration, grounding, and clarity. So let's see what we have this week. Oh, so beautiful. Okay. We have the card called the Sun. Beautiful card. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen this card in a long time. Wow. Okay. You're looking at the images here. I immediately see the fish. It's very, obvious with the Pisces energy incoming this week. So you see the fish right there. Has to do with us becoming much more reflective. Yes. Becoming more going with the flow as opposed to hitting brick walls by becoming controlling over situations, right? That's what's coming through me really strong. And the sun card has to also do with our creativity, our second chance, our ability of turning over a new leaf after all that we've learned for some time. The number one, very fitting because in 2026, it's the 1 year. So we have another sign that the one energy is coming through for us. So in particular with this week, which what we have with the solar eclipse in Aquarius, which we have with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 0 degrees, everything is in its most pure energy. It's in its most untapped course. Because you see in this image here too, you see that little baby right there? Very interesting. It's like in a little protective sack. Seems fine, that baby. Seems okay. He's kind of like ready to emerge. That's you too. It's also the collective. There's so much creative possibility here too. The water is overflowing with so much possibility I see here. It's also us tapping into our emotions, becoming the wellspring of wisdom, the wellspring of passion, peace. See also the lotuses there. So beautiful. There's 4 lotuses. It's also about finding stability, finding the centeredness within our own creative self. It's also about you becoming the author of your life. I also see a book and 2 paintbrushes, which is an indicator that we are tapping into this new creativity that's emerging from us. It's a very powerful week in that respect. And I'm reflecting on the way Saturn and Neptune are conjunct each other on February 20th. So even after the solar eclipse that happens on the 17th, 3 days later, some new untapped energy comes through. So you may feel a strong push in terms of understanding what you need to do as a follow-up to that solar eclipse message. So the great news is the way Saturn and Neptune are conjunct each other, even though in the past, talking about history and from what has been circulating around social media regarding wars and stuff like that, I don't like to condone that because I'm not goddess and I won't tell you what happens with the collective. But I do recognize that the collective is intense right now. Yes, absolutely. There is injustices happening. There's things that are like occurring that are beyond our control. What we have within our control is within the self. It's the way we are tapping into our soul-centered self, right? As long as you are holding on to that light within, you have the power to change this world. As I always say, it always begins with you because you become the reflector of life's experiences. You may even find yourself scrolling on social media. Maybe you're finding yourself completely trapped into the messaging. And I'm not saying to ignore it, but I'm also saying for you to become more responsible with the amount of exposure that you are finding yourself in with social media here. Okay. It's not to say ignore what's happening. I'm not indicating that, but I like to respectively say that in order for us to change this world, we do help. We have to help others. Absolutely. But you also have to believe in your own inner light because you need to be your most happy, peaceful, centered self in order to become more efficient to make this happen, to become more harmonizing as a soul in this life. From what you generate within the self, it sends out massive ripple effect of change. It's like the butterfly effect. And I see that in this card too. You got a little, it's like that baby right there is like in a larva right now. It's like almost emerging from the cocoon here. Also, from what I'm seeing in the cards here, those little birds are in a cage. That little birding cage. What's caging you right now? Could be other people's projections of what you should be in, or other people's projections of how settled you have to be. It could be your own inner projections that's not serving your highest and greatest good. It's like, what are you entrapping yourself in? Like, what is blocking you from tapping into this light, this energy, this happiness that is awaiting you? Because that woman in the center, she's really ready to spread her radiance in this world. And this could be you too. It's just your message that you're just about there. Remember last week's message about victory? If you haven't watched that episode, I totally encourage you to watch it. It just shows that you are you're on the edge. Oh, the song On the Edge of Glory is in my head by Lady Gaga that just came through. So listen to that song too. Maybe there's a message for you in that song. With this card, you're on the edge of glory. That just came through. Just start learning how to tap into your own soul's radiance. Learn how to excavate the light within. Keep believing in that. And also look into means of whatever stirs your soul creatively, what makes you feel most tethered in this life. Might be a creative project emerging. Maybe you're going to be tapping into releasing that project into the world. Book, it could be music, it could be poetry, it could be something that you've been building for some time. The one energy is an indicator that you are there. You're ready to spread your radiance and make this happen for yourself. And I do see a butterfly in the upper left-hand corner. There you go. There's the metamorphosis symbol right there. So cool. I love how this card, I honestly have had this deck for years. I have never noticed that butterfly. So I guess I'm meant to see that too. So thank you who have been listening to this podcast, because as I draw these cards, I also receive this message. So it's very affirming and I appreciate your energy and presence here in this space. That is your message for your oracle message for the week of February 16th. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you received all the insight you needed to carry you through this week with peace and harmony. If this episode supported you, I invite you to subscribe or share it or leave a comment about what this week is awakening within you. This is a really powerful week, so I want to hear what you have to say in regards to the solar eclipse. And again, if you want to listen to the extended version of the solar eclipse message, please click on the link below, the direct link to that episode. If you would like to stay connected beyond the podcast, you are invited to join my bi-monthly newsletter. It's aligned with the full moon and new moon cycles, so you will receive free astrology guides, reflections, and soulful messages to support you through each lunar shift. So the link is the show notes below as well. And I want to say thank you so much for being in the space here, Starlight. Thank you for choosing awareness, courage, and self-trust. And until next time, remember this: you are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to choose differently. And most importantly, you are celestial. Until next week, I will see you soon.